No? NDAD?
Especially because a lot of our top students do sports, and I mean, and that's exactly what makes them who they are. You know, so I think absolutely important that we talk about it.
And if there was no practice, if there was no weightlifting at 6 o'clock in the morning, if this was the only time that these kids could do it, okay. But when we have all these opportunities, because the kids not only have that, now they have practice and weightlifting, why another period to take away from academics?
I'll put on the July 9th.
I mentioned that though as far as the sports P block, because see, I went to school before they had that. I think right at the very end they did institute that. And if it's done correctly, I think it's a lifesaver, because otherwise you're popping in another course on kids that are doing extracurriculars, and if you're demanding out extra course and in the time consumption, if they use that 2-hour time block at that, from 2 to whatever, they're getting home then at, 2 hours earlier to get started on that homework. And I would think it would be a real detriment to pull that time block off, of those kids can jump in and get that practice and stuff in during that time, because you're going to now overload that on top of, you're going to have another now 2 hours besides doing what they're doing, originally.
I'll sit down with the administration, see if we can come up with some ideas.
Oh, well, we're talking about, I understand that we also had some conversations before about going back to the traditional scheduling system. And administration was supposed to bring some information back, but we still haven't heard about that yet either. Because I think that would make a difference too, that would help out.
The different schedule.
The traditional scheduling versus block scheduling. So we had that conversation before they were signing, and Bonnie was back here talking about how they have been looking at it as well. Rosemary?
I am very confused, because my understanding is supposed to be, is it not just a pass-fail, and therefore it isn't graded, so it shouldn't affect, so
It's a great class.
it is a graded class. Okay, then is there some that's graded and some that's not? Because
The only classes that can be pass-fail are before zero period in the morning,
Okay.
or anything after school, or anything in the summer, outside of the normal 6-period day.
okay,
And it's for TA.
Right, TA or opposite, which could be
TA?
senior year.
Teachers.
Teachers aid or opposite, senior year.
okay, and then that's
That's
that.
That's right.
Okay, and that doesn't affect your GPA, right?
No.
No,
Then why don't, because I've also been in athletics, and my son actually, he was in something and got a T, and it didn't change his GPA.
right, but you don't.
So maybe the sports PE, that might be an option. Make it just a pass-fail so that it doesn't affect the GPA.
Sounds like a central.
Yeah, for a lot of students.
Like the central does that.
Central does that? Okay.
Well, for some of the students, that sports PE actually helps them, because now they get A's.
Okay, I didn't think of that one.
Well, it works the same way it works in the morning rating thing. It helps a lot of students too.
Yeah, it helps those students, yeah.
But if you're a high achieving student, you have to have a drop, because it actually drops your
Right.
even if you get an A. But if you made it a pass, if you made the sports PE a pass-fail, though, you're still
Or at least an option.
you're still reducing that student's opportunity to take another AP course.
Right, but you can do that as an option for those students who need it to help their GPA, and then for those top achieving who enters their GPA, make it an option whether you take it as a pass-fail or you take it as for years. Because we have some classes we do that with, right?
You have an option?
No, I said maybe we could consider giving them an option.
But see, that still creates a problem where you're still filled in for the high achieving kids. They're still locked into now an additional class. Because if they take it as a pass-fail, they now can't take an
No, I understand that, but I'm saying.
Yeah, but it doesn't affect the GPA though.
Yeah, but you're locked in,
If
that's
another
your
student
class.
takes 6 and you take
So,
5.
that's still taking up a period.
Yeah, it takes up a period where you can do.
Yeah, the student is enrolled at
Yeah, one of my sons, his senior year, he took.
I'm kidding.
He had 6 periods, but one was a TA, but then he had 5 AP classes. So he quit football for that reason, because he didn't want to take the sports PE. So he had 5 AP classes, and he had a 5.0 for senior year.
So I'll bring the sports PE back for the agenda on July 9th. And we'll have the pros and cons, like
Invite
coaches, Mr. Brewer.
Yeah.
But should that be a part of this discussion here as well?
No, because if it ever becomes a pass-fail, that doesn't affect the GPA. Or valedictorian civil test.
You can amend it.
See, if sports B, say you decide to make it a pass fail, then the P doesn't affect GPA at all. It's not even into what you get.
But I don't know that that was quite the issue.
No.
As much as it was,
No, but
the fact that there was a requirement that then took away an opportunity
Right.
to take.
And that doesn't affect this policy. That wouldn't affect this policy.
And even if we did, Rosemary's right, we can always,
No, I understand.
Because I think that's going to be a lot more complicated.
That's a whole different discussion.
But does this policy address, I guess as long as it was an opportunity for a student to be able to take that particular course if they were interrupted and couldn't do it because of their requirement by the coach for the sports PE, it would still be a high school class, it would still count, and I guess, for the purposes of this policy.
Right. Right, if they took the class. Yes.
It almost sounds like you could create a special program for certain students that thus satisfies all the requirements and doesn't conflict with any other requirements, maybe. And so that way, at whatever point in the student's advancement through the grades, you then decide, okay, hey, do you want to go the athlete route? Do you want to go the scholarship route? Do you want to go this route? And then that way, that's a sort of path that student can take, and we try to stick to that path. And that way, it satisfies the students who want this, students who want that, and the parents want that.
and we can always, and another thought, check with the other high schools and see how they work that out. They might have an idea already, but
Well, let me take the opposite side for just a moment for discussion purposes. We talked about this at the last meeting, and we talked about where this would not go into effect for this last year's junior, now senior, because so many of them had channeled their efforts that way. And so, and again, I don't think they were all here. I don't know, was there an expectation or were there comments made? I know that we had requested that the counselors notify students coming in, or the undergraduate students, that this was a possibility. We don't know that anybody else was informed of the latter. They're obviously now out of school, probably not thinking about this. We could have a few of them showing up here in September and going, what's up?
So, let me,
But I think to remedy and to make it fair for everyone, that they can have those college credits, and it's great to have college. And like someone said, it looks good on their resume. I don't think that it should, even now, make a difference at the beginning of our next year. It should not even come into play. And they need to understand why. Because of the level that not everyone can go to college. And I think right now we need to do it exactly, have everybody on the same level.
With our
And it-
seniors.
Absolutely. And it doesn't matter if they've already gone to college, explain to them that it's great that they do.
Right. And I'm not finding any fault with that, but I'm just stating that we need to be prepared.
Absolutely. And I think we need to send out a letter, not just through the telephone, that we do need to let each and every parent and student know what we decided to do and how the changes were, and a copy of the policy.
And in September,
Right.
I want to be able to state that absent a parent bringing that point of view up, we tossed it up and gave that consideration before our final decision. Of
So-
those who felt like they were doing this for a purpose, whatever that purpose was right or wrong, and we cut them off the lease, so to speak.
Well, I know that there was a bunch of ladies at the exercise that were very much against the way we had it about the college credit, terribly. And they all knew what was going on. I explained to them we were going to have this meeting and how now we wanted to change it all. And believe me, they were all for it this way. So, and those are the parents that sometimes come in, like the Camerons, and, so they understand
Sure.
what we're doing.
so what if